Good morning, folks. Hope you're all well today. I haven't done a Sorare video in I don't know how long, so it's about time I do one. I just want to share with you in today's video my strategy going forward, what my plans are for next season in Europe, and I just want to share with you a few tips and tricks that I have used since being on Sorare over 3 years ago, especially during the summer transfer window. So as you will see, my gallery is heavily balanced in limited cards. The reason for that is because obviously the cost, they're a lot cheaper than rares. And what I've decided to do for next season, obviously you need a few shitty cards in there because of the cap 220, 240. But my main teams are going to consist of players who play for the top teams in their each division and who've qualified for Europe, whether that's the Conference League, the Champions League, the Europa League, etc. Purely because it gives them more utility. Championship teams in the English Championship, obviously, because they play a lot more games than any other league in Europe. So they're the sort of players that I'm looking to buy. In my opinion, there's no better time to do it now than when the season finishes, because generally prices fall because there's no utility for these cards during the summer. So based on what's happened previously, that's found, so hence I'm looking to get all my purchases done for European players right now. Now, because prices are so low, I also going to be focusing on getting a rare cap 240 for the F, and also I want a decent rare team to hopefully compete for decent prizes as well on the rare. And like I said, because prices are very low in my opinion on Sorare, there's no better time to do it, providing you've got the spare cash to do it, obviously. Just going back to the limited, I've also decided I wanted stack teams, in particular Austria, Belgium. Austria, for example, I'm gone for Salzburg because they're more expensive, but I think Sturm Graz are a decent side in Austria, and so are Lask. They will hand out batterings to the weaker sides in Austria during the general season. Belgium, Club Bruges, for example, although they haven't been the best this season, I think they will come back stronger next. So they're the sort of teams, and I'm going to see where it goes from there, and hopefully it will do me well. So that's just my strategy on the old limited cards. I just want as much utility as I possibly can, basically, with the players who play for the best teams in their domestic leagues. Now, the one thing I want to share with you, obviously coming up now when the season finishes next weekend or the week after in certain leagues, a lot of players will be released, being transferred in your left, right and centre. Now, I've got FootMob on my phone and I'm alerted to every transfer that takes place. However, what I've noticed with FootMob is sometimes it's 24 hours, I get a notification after the transfer happens. That's not quick enough, especially on Sorare, because people are on the ball now. As soon as the transfer takes place, they're buying the players and the prices go up. So I've always found personally, my transfer market is quicker to update. You just go on transfers and rumours and then the latest transfers, and you can just keep refreshing it throughout the day. And you can see there are all the latest transfers, that all the competitions in every country. So all those are the players that have been released without a club. However, you can see the last transfer that's taken place involving money is this Alexander Borkovic, who've gone from Hoffenheim to Sturm Graz for 550k. Now, just touching back, because I've got a stack with Sturm Graz in Austria, he would get what's the word I'm looking for? That would spring to my attention straight away, because he could potentially be coming in for one of the centre backs that I've already got who might replace him. I've already looked him up. He's only cheap, £1 for his limited and 17 quid for his rare. So he's one I would potentially buy just in case, like I said, he comes in and takes over one of my other players. And it's not going to cost a lot to do that. So I find this site, personally, I don't know another site that is so up to date with transfers, because like I said, if you just keep refreshing it, the transfer takes place, it'll show on here. So that is what I'm going to be using. If any player comes up that I've got my eye on, which I've got a list of about 40 players who've been released from clubs in Belgium who are without a club at this moment in time. I might take a punt on 1 and 2 without them signing, but as soon as the majority of them sign for clubs, I'll be getting on Sorare and trying to get them as cheap as possible, because I can assure you they will be a lot cheaper while they're without a club, obviously, than if they join another club who is obviously covered by Sorare in the leagues. Now, this isn't a punt. When I say I've got a list of players that I might take a punt on, obviously, looking at rare teams, the goalkeepers are the most expensive, generally. This guy, George, Stephen Hand, his name is, Graz #1 up until January of this year. Sturm Graz got a young kid in on loan from Arsenal who's played every game since. So, unfortunately, George lost his place. Now, again, looking at transfer market, I know come July of this year, he's out of contract. He's going to be without a club. But I am pretty confident he will join, and the hope is he goes to a league that's covered by Sorare, but I'm sure he will go to another club and become a #1 goalkeeper. And the reason why I'm pretty confident that will happen is because if you look at his stats for 5 years previous to this year, he has started almost every game for Sturm Graz, who are arguably the second best team in Austria. So there's obviously something decent about him. And he's 33 years of age. He's not the type of goalkeeper, in my opinion, that is willing to stay on the bench for 15 years, never play and just pick up a wage. He wants to play, in my opinion. And given all of that, I would be willing to take a punt before he joins a club and try and get him cheaper. Now, I know his rare card in the last auction has gone for just over 50 quid. I would be willing to pay that 50 quid in the hope that he does move to a club that's covered by Sorare and he becomes their #1 goalie. Now, there's obviously no guarantees this is going to happen, so please don't go out and think this is foolproof, because it's not. Obviously, players are humans. He might have had a gutsful now and think, Christ, I'm happy to be a #2 goalkeeper and just pick up a wage now until I retire. Who knows? But I just think, I've seen him play once or twice. Obviously, the standard in Austria isn't great, but he looks decent. And like I said, I firmly believe he will be a #1 somewhere. The hope is he just goes to a league that's covered by Sorare. I've got a list of about 20 odd players that are similar to this that I might take a punt on 3 or 4 of them, because if you do that, you only need 1 or 2 to start, and providing they become regulars, then you're going to make decent profit. So that's where I am, guys. Like I said, this is just how I've played it for like 3.5 years since being on Sorare. I'm going to get back into Sorare in a bigger way. So when I sold my gallery a few years back, purely because, in my opinion, the prices are too low to ignore now for what's on offer. I think the value is fantastic. So I'm going to be investing quite heavily now during the summer to try and get back to somewhere near where I was before. So thanks for watching, guys. Please do your own research, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, guys.